Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old, to history, to anecdotes, to really wherever our whims take us. And we're returning to a world of Harleen. Harleen is a black label work by Stjepan Sejic, which I reviewed a while back, well, book one. I was quite effusive about it. I loved the take on Harley and her relationship with the Joker. I loved how the story gave Harley something that is sometimes taken away from her, and that's agency. It also allowed the readers to decide how they felt about the relationship, providing a variety of viewpoints, but importantly, never the Joker's. It happened largely from Harley's point of view, but in book 3 there were some interesting Batman observations. I liked Harleen so much that it joined my trade collection, which is a feat these days because everything is so expensive. Also, I just wanted to show you that this is the cover and it's glorious, but also you know what else is glorious? Underneath the dust jacket. Bum, 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 bum. Check that out. How gorgeous is that? This is one of those things where just the art was so beautiful, I needed it in my collection, I really did. At the back you have all the alternate covers, panels, all kinds of stuff. Look at that Harley Ivy one, look at it. Ah. You've also got script notes, all kinds of things. So I don't know, I'm a fan of stuff like this. So I was thrilled when it was announced that there were gonna be more stories taking place in this universe. To which I just said, shut up and take my money. So this comic is Harley Quinn Black, White, and Red. It's a play on the Batman Black and White comics, which are monochromatic comics. This comic will feature only one color, and that's red. An aesthetic I'm 100% here for. That symbolic pop of color, it can be very fun. And well, as you're about to see, the art in this is just gorgeous. This was released as part of the DC digital firsts that they began doing after the start of COVID. This was because of store closures, plus Diamond distributors shut down temporarily. But there was a whole bunch of other behind the scenes minutia that led to DC severing ties with Diamond altogether. But we're not here to talk about the inner workings of distribution. We're here to talk about Harley. This cover showcases the energy that runs through both Harley in her Harley Quinn persona and as herself. Because once she becomes Harley, she is permanently changed. We open on Arkham. Every generation has them, the saints who come to save the world with one revolutionary idea or another. I was on their side once, the other side of the glass. My method? Finding the breaking point of someone's empathy. Like it matters anyway. Everything is pointless. Her doctor is trying a brand of color therapy, which is quite poignant in a black and white comic. But it turns out that her psychiatrist is just pushing her buttons by trying to get her to respond to a defunct test. Specifically a Lüscher style test. This is so that Harley will talk to her, engage with her, and hopefully view her as an equal. But what exactly is the Lüscher test? Well, get ready for some fun facts. Dr. Max Lüscher was from Switzerland, and he believed that one's personality could be determined by the colors one selected, and that the perception of color is universally shared. Which is not true, but moving on. Colors were each assigned a meaning and personality traits, and based on how they were ordered, it was meant to show what type of person you were. And then you could be grouped with other similar types of people. And then in theory, your therapy could be based around these colors, what would work for you because they determined your personality. Red in this hierarchy was seen to represent force of will, and the traits associated with it were eccentric, active aggressive, competitive, with a strong sexuality and need for excitement and action. This test has actually long been discredited though, as is mentioned by the doctor in this story. But I can tell you, despite strong critiques that I found dating all the way back to 1984, this test, or a variation of it, was still kinda used when I was in middle school. They used it to try and determine your personality type for picking a profession. They'd be grouped with similar people of personality type, and then they'd be like, these professions are for you. This was in 2002, by the way, so make of that what you will. But it's fine, it was only half a unit, and then we never talked about it again. Detour over, back to Harley. Finally one of you remembers that I know this stuff. So like the Joker, Harley has been messing with her therapists, playing with them. It's kind of a fun game for her while she's in Arkham. For example, she pretended with one doctor that she just saw bats in all her Rorschach tests. Still, the doctor insists and holds up a red card. Indulge me. What does red mean to you? Tell me a story. This actually reminds Harley of everything before, back when she was a psychiatrist and when she asked the Joker to tell her a story, and it kind of just puts her right back in that headspace, and so she starts to respond. Also, you see more details on her face, like the scars that are lining it. Red is the color of our first night together. And here, after that card, we start introducing red more and more into the color scheme. And the blood beneath my fingernails. Red is the color of my end. It's the color of his grin. The color of my sin. Red is the color of our art. So I really like this, all of the different meanings that it has. And also, yeah, you've probably noticed they're kind of lining up with that base Lüscher test thing. Yeah. You can see as she works through it that she has a variety of feelings about her relationship with the Joker and what this color means to her. There's something about this last panel that is just pure Harley. It's the same image from the cover, and it showcases the joy and freedom she has experienced since becoming Harley Quinn. This is something that's often skimmed over because in order to deal with it, you have to deal with the fact that the Joker was the catalyst. And that makes them uncomfortable, but it doesn't have to take away from her. In fact, it can make her more interesting as it forces you to ask some serious questions, I mean, if you want to. How much of Harley was already in Harleen, and is she a happier, more fulfilled person as this supervillain than she was as a productive member of society? For again, after she leaves him, she doesn't go back to being the person that she was before. She likes who she is. And it's not all him, because a lot of the decisions that happen while she's with him, she makes by herself. Again, agency, which to me is a lot more interesting of a story than the Joker made me do it. Did he manipulate? Yes, but to what extent? These works allow you to ask that question and sit with it. Red is the color of a breakup, because a broken heart is a wounded heart, and a wound bleeds, and in that moment of rage, even he is red, and red is the color of a rose. My little fangirl heart squeaked at that line because if you've been part of the Batman mythos for a while, you know what that means. You know who's coming. Poor Dr. Leia, though, does not have our meta insight, so she does not know that this means that we're gonna see some Ivy. Her superior is less than thrilled that she didn't get more out of her.
Damn, I'm worried about this, Leia. I can't afford another breakout. Arkham Asylum is the laughingstock of the city as it is.
Of this city? I think you mean of other cities. In Gotham, I'm sure it's a source of anxiety and fear. It turns out the red card was a prompt because every night Harley has just been sitting there begging a mysterious red to come get her and saying that red promised. Have you tried consulting the Bat?
No, I will not see my institution made even more of a mockery for seeking help from a man who should be locked up in one of my cells.
Dang, tell us how you really feel. I don't think they heard you in the back. Red is the color of broken things, but it is the color of desire as well. The color of love. It is the color of fear. It is the color of rage. And red is the color of her hair. I just really love the expression on Harley's face. She looks completely besotted. Also importantly, it's very similar to how she looked at the Joker. We also get a more extensive look at the scarring. It's going all up her arms. Harley's had a rough time and also killed a lot of people. Harley is complicated. So chapter 1 ends with Arkham's director angrily crushing a red rose petal in his hands. For once again, they are a laughing stock. Also, people have to go home and lock their doors and stuff because it's scary. So I really liked this. It's quick, it's just a short chapter, but it's very evocative. And it's not too dialogue heavy, which is something that some of these doctor and patient talking comics can end up falling into. You know, just walls of text, and for a minute you think you're reading a novel with just little tiny illustrations in it. It also managed to carry the red theme throughout without becoming tedious. Though of course that's subjective. Some may find it trite or played out or even find the amount of red overused. I for one am excited to see this universe's take on Harley and Ivy. A relationship that has some strong potential for nuance and reasons to be dark, but sometimes those can be glossed over. Sometimes you get just the whole quick, well, it's better than the Joker. Or because of the type of relationship it is, some believe they need a happy ending no matter what. This from a positive representation stance, despite the fact that they are supervillains who have killed many people. People are dead. So many dead people. Remember that time when Harley killed a whole basement full of kids? Because I do. You can make these two have a very happy ending, and I've seen it done well, but the thing is you need to change the characters a bit in order to get them there. And some people do that gracefully with a natural evolution, and other people just kind of bend their own spines backwards or the characters to make it happen. Harley and Ivy have a lot going on in their relationship, and sometimes it's not fully explored. I mean, you could really make some arguments for the type of people Harley is drawn to. Also, Ivy has some rough edges all her own, and sometimes that's just completely forgotten. Ivy and the Joker are different, but Ivy is scary in her own right. Be afraid. I'm afraid. Also, let's not forget the manipulating pheromones. Why does everybody forget the manipulating pheromones? There was mention of her pheromones in this universe, and Harley's not always immune to them. Some feel these two have grown past their villainous origins and are now firmly in the anti-hero camp. Your mileage will vary. Joker and Harley and Poison Ivy are different. They're very different relationships. And liking one or the other doesn't make one a good or bad person or a good or bad fan. There are many reasons to be drawn to one or the other, and they can be very interesting. People tend tend to be very quick to condemn and jump to conclusions about why people like what they like. But that's not what we're about here. It's very easy to get reductive about Harley and her relationships. But there's so much to say if you feel like unpacking it and diving just a little bit deeper. Which here, on Casually Comics, we do. Casually unpacking things by layers. That's what casual means, right? I loved this chapter. I can't wait for chapter 2. I want Sejic to draw all the things. But that's just my opinion. What did you think of this chapter and this story, and are you excited to see a continuation in the Harleen universe? Are you excited to get into Harley and Ivy territory? I am. Have you moved past this all and it's all about punchline now? Nothing else matters. Let me know all your thoughts down below. And while you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for watching Casually Comics. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to spend it discussing comics with me. And I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye!